popularity dropping dramatically. We knew this was a dangerous moment. Many of us anticipated a false flag attack or even a war that would be sure to change the mood of the country. One of the essays, Election Season in a Dangerous Democracy, 3rd September 2018, is, among other things, about this fear. We held our collective breath. In February 2019, weeks before the general election, the attack came. A suicide bomber blew himself up in Kashmir, killing 40 security personnel. False flag or not, the timing was perfect. Modi and the Bharatiya Janata Party swept back to power. And now, only a year into the BJP's second term, through a series of moves that this book deals with, India has changed beyond recognition. The secular, inclusive republic envisaged in the Constitution, imperfectly realised, but one that many of us dreamt of and haven't entirely given up on, as this book makes obvious, is being threatened at its very foundations. The infrastructure of fascism is staring us in the face. The pandemic is speeding up that process in unimaginable ways, and yet we hesitate to call it by its name. I started to write this introduction while the US President Donald Trump and his family were on an official visit to India in the last week of February 2020. So it too has had to pass through the rupture, the pandemic portal. The first case of COVID-19 in India had been reported on 30th January. Nobody, least of all the government, paid any attention. It had been more than 200 days since the state of Jammu and Kashmir had been stripped of its special status and placed under an information siege, and more than 2 months since a new anti-Muslim citizenship law, widely seen as being unconstitutional, had brought millions of protesters onto the streets of India. In a public speech to a crowd wearing Modi and Trump masks, Donald Trump informed Indians that they play cricket, celebrate Diwali, and make Bollywood films. We were grateful to learn that about ourselves. Between the lines, he sold us MH-60 helicopters worth $3 billion. Rarely has India publicly humiliated herself thus. Not far from the grand presidential suite of the Delhi hotel where Trump spent the night and Hyderabad house where he held trade talks with Modi, Delhi was burning. In the northeast of the city, Muslims from working-class neighbourhoods were under attack. Violence had been in the air for a while, with politicians delivering open threats to Muslim women conducting peaceful sit-in protests against the new citizenship law. When the attack began, Muslims fought back. Houses, shops, vehicles were burned. Many, including a policeman, were killed. Many more were hospitalized with gunshot wounds. Horrifying videos flew around the internet. In one of them, grievously wounded young Muslim men laid out on the street, some piled against each other by uniformed policemen, are being forced to sing the national anthem. Subsequently, one of them, Faizan, died. The Huffington Post carried a chilling report of how he had been tortured and had a policeman's baton pushed down his throat. Trump made no comment on the horror swirling around him. Instead, he conferred on Narendra Modi the title Father of the Nation. Until recently, this was Gandhi's title. I'm no fan of Gandhi, but surely even he did not deserve this. After Trump left, the violence went on for days. More than 50 people lost their lives. About 300 were admitted into hospital with terrible wounds. Thousands of people moved into refugee camps. In Parliament, the Home Minister praised himself and the police. Other politicians made speeches cheered by their smirking supporters in which they more or less blamed Muslims for provoking the violence, for attacking themselves, burning their own shops and homes, and throwing their own bodies into the open sewage canals that crisscross their neighbourhood. Every effort was made by the mainstream media to portray the violence as a Hindu-Muslim riot. I wouldn't call it a riot. I'd say it was an attempted pogrom against Muslims led by an armed fascist mob. And while the dead